Hi, this is CAD/CAM Lessons channel, and in this video I will tell you a few things about circular patterns in FreeCAD. Many people associate circular patterns with creating additional copies of selected features on cylindrical parts. However, we can also apply circular patterns to other elements. They do not necessarily have to be cylindrical parts. In this video, I will show you this with the example of a rectangular box. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, please subscribe, and if you want to support this channel, you will find information in the description of this video on how to do that. Let's move on to FreeCAD, and I will create a new project. And we will start by creating a parametric part. As for the circular pattern, I will start by creating a cylindrical element. We will create a circle of arbitrary diameter and add an extrusion of this sketch to 10 mm. We will create another feature here. I select this face, choose to create a sketch, and I will create a rectangle which center will lie on the y-axis with arbitrary dimensions. I close the sketch and add a pocket based on this sketch to 5 mm. Okay. Now, if we want to create additional copies of this pocket around a circle, the circular pattern is indeed the first thing that comes to mind. We do this by selecting the feature we want to repeat and choosing the polar pattern operation. Here we create additional copies of this element relative to the base z-axis and specify the number of elements. This is how the circular pattern works. However, if we create a new project and I will create a rectangular box here, I will select to create a sketch. I will create a sketch on the XY plane, and here we will create a square with a side of 100 mm. Okay, I close the sketch and add an extrusion, for example, to 50 mm. Okay. Here I will create another sketch. I select this face, choose to create a sketch, and here I will draw a rectangle whose center will lie on the y-axis. Let's draw a rectangle with dimensions 50 by 50 mm. Let it also be a square. Okay. Let's also add the dimension of this point from the origin of the coordinate system. So I select this point, press the D key, and here, as the dimension value, we will enter 40 mm. I close the sketch, and based on this sketch I will add the pocket to 10 mm. I will add fillets to these edges. I select this edge, and with the Control key I select this edge and choose the fillet operation. We add a fillet with a radius of 20 mm and click OK. Now I will also add a chamfer to this edge. Look, I only select one edge, choose the chamfer operation. The chamfer has been added to all edges. I have a chamfer of 9 mm. And now, if I set the chamfer to 10 mm, I cannot add such a chamfer because this wall is 10 mm thick. In this case, it cannot be done in such a way that the chamfer is also 10 mm. We can make a smaller chamfer, or we can simply enter, for example, 9.99 here. It already looks like the chamfer was full. However, if we zoom in closer to this model, we can see a flat face that remains. We have a fragment that has not been chamfered. In most cases, something like that shouldn't be a problem, but there might be specific situations, especially where someone else will later work on this model. Such a situation may cause trouble, but we assume that we are working on it, and such a thing doesn't bother us, so we leave it and click OK. I want these features that we created in the previous operations, namely the pocket, the fillet, and the chamfer to be also on the other faces of this box. Here we have a box. When it comes to repeating features on such elements, a circular pattern is not the first thing that comes to mind. However, it is indeed with the help of a circular pattern that we can achieve such a thing. To do this, with the Control key, we select the operations in the operations tree that served us to create this feature. These are the pocket, fillet, and chamfer operations. Now we choose the polar pattern operation. We specify the axis for the circular pattern. By default, the normal sketch axis is selected. However, in this case, we want to make the circular pattern relative to the base Z-axis. We specify the number of copies, 4 copies. In the preview, we can already see how it will look. We click OK to confirm. In this way, we quickly created additional copies of this feature on the other faces of this solid. Now, one more thing as a curiosity, the solid I showed at the beginning looks a bit different. I also created such a box based on that solid. I deleted the top face and created a solid with walls of a certain thickness. However, in this case, I cannot do that. I select this face and choose the thickness operation. It does not work. Perhaps it does not work because of this chamfer that we created here. This is how it looks. It is possible that this part of the solid is blocking the creation of such a box, which is why I will cancel this. I will change the value of this chamfer. We can double-click to go into editing this chamfer, or we can simply select this chamfer and here in the parameters change the chamfer value to, for example, 5 mm. I click and it has been confirmed. Now this operation is active. This operation is grayed out, so I press the spacebar to turn on the visibility of this operation. The changes we applied in the first source operation have also been introduced into the copies we made using the circular pattern. Now I select this face, choose the thickness operation, and now I can create such a box. As I mentioned earlier, the fragment that we left here during the chamfering could not hinder in many cases. However, here we occurred a case where it was hindering. It was simply impossible to apply the thickness operation on the basis of something like that. We click OK, and in this way we created something like that. So as you can see, when designing elements in FreeCAD, you have to be a bit careful about what you do, because what we do at the beginning may not hinder at all, but later such a situation may arise in which it will be troublesome. Okay, in this way we created such a solid. While creating this solid, some interesting issues also arose, and I hope that this will be useful for you. We will end here. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe to this channel.